afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jessie Bradish, and I'm here to present my Canadian Fulbright proposal. As many of you know, being IEP students, scientists have come to a consensus that anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions are leading to catastrophic climate change. We've already committed to a warming of 1.3 degrees, and 2 degrees Celsius is seen by many as a tipping point. And so my proposal is designed to deal with some of those issues, and I'm calling it Using Biodiesel Production's Glycerin Byproduct as a Fertilizer Amendment. I know this is something everyone is super interested in and has been following. So just a short overview. Basically, I'm hoping to be able to upcycle what is currently considered a waste stream into a fertilizer, closing the energy agriculture loophole. An overview of my presentation, I'll be going over the context, the major question that I have, how I'll be collecting and analyzing the data, the host country affiliates that I'll be involved with, as well as the project feasibility, and then finally why I believe that this does have significant benefits on multiple levels. First, who here has gone flying this year in a plane? A lot of us really enjoy flying, and I think that aviation is one of the places where biofuels will continue to play a really significant role in the foreseeable future. This is a quote from last year's Economist, basically highlighting that for this kind of really heavy machinery, we still need liquid hydrocarbon fuels. Electrification is not really a valid opportunity, even though that may be the way forward for passenger vehicles. But I did have this question, well, can we take the biodiesel crude glycerol waste stream and turn it into a fertilizer amendment, resulting in significant sustainability gains? Because just a little bit of background about why I might care about this question. This was me in 2008 as the director of Chicago Biofuels, a local nonprofit focused on waste vegetable oil solutions. And then about 2 months later, this happened. The food versus fuel debate just blew up. And suddenly we were ripping food from starving children to feed it to our fuel-hungry SUVs. And it's too bad that that was the viewpoint. I actually believe that only about 15% of the price increase of staples at that time was due to biofuels. About 85% was because oil was at $140 a barrel. But I think that that brings up a really interesting point, which is that this is not this closed life cycle. When biofuels first came to the market, everyone thought, this is so great, it's carbon neutral because you're growing the fuel and you're burning it and then you're growing more fuel. And there's nothing going on outside of this, right? Except that there's agricultural inputs, you're using a lot of petroleum, there's industrial inputs, there's infrastructure concerns, and so that starts to really reduce the overall life cycle benefits. But this is something that we can deal with, and one of the ways of addressing that is by turning some of the major waste streams into, again, productive inputs for agriculture and starting to close that loop. As long as we want to continue to do heavy machinery, to ship things around the world, and to fly, we're really going to need to find a way to move forward with our globalized infrastructure. And that's why I think that this is an excellent project. I've focused on Canada for a number of reasons. They have a greenhouse gas reduction mandate that they're very committed to meeting that's very similar to the European Union's commitment. They also have more than 20 major biodiesel production facilities. They are also a major agricultural producer and exporter, and they have a very high per capita fertilizer use. So I'd be able to study all parts of what I believe the cycle is. This is a map of the 20-plus biodiesel production facilities in Canada that would be part of my data collection. And this is, you can see the per capita fertilizer consumption, North America and Europe being the highest per capita. And remember that currently most fertilizers are chemical and petroleum based. And obviously then the output from all of this fertilizer use is there are major pollution concerns as well. And using a more organic base for the fertilizer would meet some of those concerns. So just a little background, you might wonder what glycerin is. Glycerin is basically a carbon hydrogen. It is a 10% by volume waste stream of biodiesel production. So that's a massive amount of glycerin that we're producing every year because of our biofuels mandates. Canada has committed to producing 500 million liters of biodiesel every year, half of that domestically, which translates to roughly 30,000 tons of glycerin a year. This excess waste product that now they have to dispose of, and the bottom has completely fallen out of the glycerin market. If biofuels mandates continue to be met, there's a prediction there will be 6 times the amount of glycerin on the market as there is a demand. So there's also this question of it being a global commodity and how that's really been impacted. So as I said, this is 10% of the waste stream, and the only way that my plan can actually be effective involves one more aspect of biodiesel production, which is the catalyst. If you use potassium, then that's actually a fertilizer amendment. If you use sodium, then you're making lye and you're salting the earth, and you absolutely cannot use any of this glycerin waste stream. Unfortunately, lye is cheaper, and so part of my question will also involve what is the policy necessary to get major biodiesel producers to switch to KOH. But I believe that if you could offer them a high value output at the end, that they would really be able to find an economic motivator. So here, nitrogen and phosphorus, where would I get, so NPK is a very common fertilizer. I already have the K from my glycerin. Where would I get the N and the P from? As Ashley has previously told us, we have a surplus of poop. So how would I gather this data? I would do a literature review first, looking at a lot of these commodities issues that I've discussed, some of the inputs. I would do open and closed questions to producers and to farmers about what the current standards are. And then I would, my dependent variable would be production sustainability in general, looking at the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit. My independent variable would be the production and the use of glycerin, which would change. I'm doing this by biodiesel plants. There are more than 21 million gallon a year producers in Canada, and to operationalize my variables, I will operationalize them. Here's my timeline for my 9-month proposal, starting with the literature review, going through the interviews, and then even doing a pilot project. And I believe that I will have great support with the Ministry of Energy and Mines, which is very committed to this biodiesel research, and also the University of British Columbia has done a lot of research on energy and agriculture. And so hopefully I've demonstrated to you today that by trying to close this waste loophole, we're going to be able to see benefits to sustainable energy and to agriculture, and instead of having it be food versus fuel, I really like to see us considering it waste into food as one of the silver buckshot of energy solutions for a future sustainable world. Thank you. Any questions?